Democracy is now a tradition for many generations. Families discuss politics and politicians regularly. When India votes, more people go to the polls than in the EU and North America together, and 2 years ago, India undertook the largest electronic vote to date.
Election in India, is like a festival to a certain extent. I mean, to put it positively, because people feel that there is something which they are going to change or they are going to decide, which otherwise the destiny decides, otherwise the fate decides. But here is a time that in my election booth, no destiny and no fate is going to enter. I am going to enter, I am going to stamp, or I am going to push the electronic button.
The pharmaceutical industry too has contributed to India's growth, and like IT, has been an important focus of the EU-India partnership. Following the Doha trade negotiations, India formally recognised product patents, which has caused concern about the future of the industry domestically. The EU played a key role in ensuring that international trade agreements took into account the position of emergent generic industries as exists in India. And with generic drugs worth over $40 billion going off patent, Indian firms like Cipla will make a welcome partner internationally.
Our past experience is what is going to see us through in the future. Because being generic industry, we are very strong in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of the technology that we have developed and the experience that we have acquired. So we are way up on the learning curve, and we are able to now participate on a different footing. When we talk about India, we have to understand that India is a country full of contradictions. I mean, you'll have the latest in technology, cheek by jowl with the immense poverty, and the two coexist.
300 million people live in poverty in India. That's 300 million less than a generation ago, but there remains a lot more to do. The government has launched what they call a direct assault on poverty, and are clear that the fight against poverty and economic growth must go hand in hand. The latest in technology is playing a further role in India's battle.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Founded in 1969, the Indian Space Research Organisation launched its first satellite in 1975.
Our founding father, Dr. Sarabhai, had a great vision. That is, the space technology can be tuned to meet the needs of the common man. In fact, we have lived truly to his vision, and today we are one of the major countries in the world who have got the capability to build the satellites of remote sensing and communications, as well as launch them.
With 70% of India's 1 billion people living in villages, communication is vital. Via satellite, new telemedicine programs have been established where villagers in remote locations can access the expertise of urban doctors. Crop management, early warning systems against floods and interactive classrooms are now all possible via satellite. Next year, India is going to the moon. Under an agreement between the ISRO and the European Space Agency, 3 instruments from Europe will be on board the unmanned expedition Chandrayaan-1. The EU and India also have agreed to cooperate on Galileo, the European Global Satellite Navigation System. Just some of the many collaborations between the EU and India across a range of science and technology fields.
The 440 kg lunar craft.
India has always maintained clear objectives about its space program as a development tool. But for the rest of the world, space exploration puts India in a different context. As we approach the next EU-India summit, it's clear that close cooperation will see the two develop as global partners in the global village. Such collaboration is not surprising. The two share common foreign policy objectives. They are both committed to multilateralism, and both have been active in combating terrorism. Indeed, in the coming decades, a strong EU-India partnership will be increasingly seen as a force for global stability.
India is beginning to find its place in the sun, and that means having excellent relationships with the EU, with the US, with China, with Russia. I think you'll see that India becomes a more important player in the whole world, politically and economically. But the important thing is that people in this country now have a lot of confidence that things are on the move, and that if they do the right things in the next couple of decades, we really could be a much more developed nation.
what I can see is every other person in the house will be either a technical graduate or a medical graduate or a very nice science graduate. So what I can think is India's come a long way in the last 10 years, and it's nice to be where you have a lot of people who are educated, well educated, and they know what the future is.